Hi everyone, it's Lori and welcome to the garden. Today I'm starting up here at the garden entrance. These are the gorgeous dahlia and verbena containers. They're just doing great. So the beginning of our garden is actually right here at our paved driveway. So this is kind of our parking area. And we only have one or two cars that park in this space, so it's never very crowded. And the way the garden works is there is a small garden that kind of wraps around the driveway, and then it leads you to our beautiful shade garden. So I do consider this area an extension of the garden, and I like to keep it, of course, really beautiful, and I like to maximize my growing space. But you can see I have one blue chair here. The other blue chair is actually in the garden. I have some containers that don't look super great. I have this container with the grasses in it. I have a container that has a boxwood with some annuals that's kind of just shoved in this little corner. The annuals aren't doing great. And then as you come along, there's some miscellaneous plants. And then I have my cute vintage table that is just full of things right now. The table also needs a good paint job. So today, what I want to do is tackle the weeds. I want to move everything out of the space, really clean it up, and I want to re-look at the space with fresh eyes. So I think once I pull things away, I'll be able to put them back in a way that makes sense for this growing season. So I thought I'd bring you along. And of course, the first step is going to be weeding. So we're going to get started with cleanup first. I'm going to fast forward through that. You guys know the joy of cleaning up weeds and debris and all that kind of stuff. So I'm just going after it with this little weed attachment that I picked up actually at Amazon. There's a link to it in my description. It's one of those horseshoe type hose, and it works great if your soil is soft, and we've had a lot of rain. So first step is cleanup. I did move my table to the back, and I'm going to be painting it a surprise color. So you'll see that in just a minute. So rewarding to get rid of weeds and to just empty a space. So what I decided first to do was to bring the containers, especially that boxwood container, out. And at first, I thought I wanted a group of plants right here. Now, another reason that I was on this mission to redo this space is I have a container that I wanted to put some zinnia seeds in. Now, you can see the Rose of Sharon I'm pointing to back there is just getting ready to be in full bloom. But what I discovered, I think the grouping of plants looks beautiful there, but they don't get a lot of sunshine. And in order to grow zinnias from seeds or dahlias, we are going to need some sunshine. So here's the empty container that I wanted to put seeds in. And now you can see where I've moved the blue chair. It's in the garden with its partner chair, and I just cleaned all of this space. I also was able to clean underneath the large veggie box right there. So now that it's all nice and tidy, I have these containers to contend with and to think about. I actually made a visit to the garden center because I needed to get soil for this big container. And when I was there, I found some gorgeous annuals on sale. Aren't these absolutely beautiful? So I was going to go forward with putting these containers in that spot that's a little shaded. First thing I needed to do though was clean the containers. I gave them a good scrub. They're going to need another scrub. You'll see at the end of the video. And then I started the planting process. Now, as I went through planting, I began to think more about the reality of how these plants were going to do without as much sunshine as they probably need. But first things first, we're going to get these planted up, and then we'll talk about where they end up. So when I stopped by to get soil at the garden center, they had these gorgeous cosmos on clearance and they looked so healthy. And I was like, these already are started, they are thriving. And so I decided to grab 3 of them to put in the center of this container. And then I am still going to plant my zinnia seeds all around it. I have a beautiful burgundy red mix. I think it will look gorgeous going into autumn. So now I'm going to add those seeds, just sprinkle them around. I'm going to have to really keep them watered. The next few days are going to be hot, but I hope they germinate really fast. And I think that'll be just a nice late season cut flower for the garden. So, this time of year when you find cosmos or zinnias that look like this already grown, and on sale, I just couldn't resist. And I think they're just going to make a great addition to the garden up at the driveway space. So now that they're all watered in, I have the boxwood container in the back that I did remove all the annuals. The annuals that were in there just were not thriving, and they were going to take a lot of work to get them to bounce back. So, after I stood back, looked at the space, thought about the space overnight, I decided it was going to be better to move the containers where they get more sunshine and also to decongest this area. For so long, this area right here, this corner, has just been full of stuff. And so I thought it was going to be so much better to keep it simple, really highlight the gorgeous trees, the Rose of Sharon, and to give these dahlias and zinnias and cosmos a better chance over in the sunshine. So I actually decided to do a plant grouping over here in front of the large box. And the first thing I'm going to do is get this container with the boxwood all planted up. So again, when I was at the garden center, they had gorgeous zinnias in this beautiful pink color. So I needed to add some fresh soil, and then we're just going to get these guys planted. What I loved about these zinnias is the color matches the pinkerific dahlias that are in the containers over at the entrance to the garden. So I think it will be a really cohesive space and look really beautiful. And these zinnias should thrive and last till frost. So that's my hope. So I've checked on the paint on my little patio table and it is dry. So as soon as I'm finished with this container, I'm going to go get everything cleaned up, set up, final tweaks, and then I'm going to reveal the final outcome and the color of my little table. All right, everybody. So I got this project finished and I love it. Let me come around. We'll start at this corner. So if you remember in the beginning of the video, I had a chair here. I had the boxwood container kind of just shoved in this corner and it just didn't do anything to the space. So I've decided to put my little metal table here. This is a vintage table and I love it in this space. It gives us a way to kind of sit in the shade garden, but not be too far away from the rest of the garden. It also gives me kind of a quiet space to sit in the morning before I start my project. So I love it. I use this table a lot. I use it for my photography. I use it to put supplies on. And I love this color. So this is called Hunter Green. Now it is not as dark as I expected. I expected it to be like a dark park green, but it's more of that almost I would call 80s, 90s hunter green, but I love it. I think it looks really beautiful. You can see there kind of the true color. I think it really pops next to the shade garden and really fits in. I didn't want it to just stand out like, hello, a table's here. I wanted it to kind of blend in, and I think it does. I think it looks really natural. I got the idea for this from seeing some videos of gardens in England, as well as some other
uh, large home gardens where they have sitting areas, and a lot of times they use green. So that could be one way that you refresh your space, is maybe updating a color on something that you can paint. Now, the next big transformation is this front area as we come along, and then this corner space. Now, ignore my umbrella. I had to put it down last night, and I do have to keep that up here. I've been using it. I use it when I garden. I use it to cover the tomatoes when it's too hot, and I use it when I have my I do floral and garden and photography workshops. So for right now, it's down because we had the storm last night. But this space has completely changed and is all cleaned up. And I'm really thrilled with it. It was always so congested. This tree here is just large and beautiful. We're about to get it trimmed up and kind of shaped up. It is still a junior tree. It is only 4 years old, and we want to make sure it stays healthy. So we've got an arborist coming out. But I really just like the simplicity and cleanness of this. Now, right here where I have this little small container, I am going to go back to the store where I purchased my large stone, and I'm going to try to see if they have a set of small ones. I think they had them in ivory and tans, and I may do just a little small trio. Because again, I really can't plant there. Maybe I could plant some ground cover, but I am just thrilled that this is kind of cleaned up and not all busy and congested. So in the video, I first tried to put a group of pots here, and it just didn't work. It also didn't work because the trees and the Rose of Sharon shade them all day. So I then decided, well, why don't I move my green stalk, because this is my pathway back to my little secret kind of dahlia garden. You can see the path there, stepping stones. And it was getting in the way, and it was kind of congesting this area. So this kind of opened up this space. So I moved it over here, and I love it. I think it just, there's nothing behind it that's that important. And I just love this little kind of montage that it all created. So that gave me then the option, because this is full sun, to do some of my containers here where they look really, really intentional. So I've got this grouping here. Now, I cleaned these once. I'm going to have to get some soapy water and come out and clean these pots. So I didn't get that finished. I cleaned them with this organic spray and water, but I may even just spray paint them. That might be the easier thing to do. So I will get that done. But this container has 2 dahlias in it, and they're going to continue hopefully to grow now that they're out in the sunshine more. Then this is the container that we did the cosmos. Aren't they beautiful this morning? These are my favorite. And then I planted the zinnia seeds. So hopefully they start taking off. I will give you an update in my post, hopefully in about 7 days. Okay, next is, this was the boxwood container, and the annuals just weren't doing it. So I changed them out. I brought in the bright pink zinnias, which kind of coordinate as you're in the driveway with all the pink containers that I have in the main garden. So we also have the pop of lantana, and that's going to hopefully trail down, the scaevola, and then these incredible zinnias. So beautiful. And I got these on clearance. I think they were $4.50 a pack, and they're still full of blooms. They were so healthy. Zinnias in my area, I don't love to grow them because they get powdery mildew really easily, but we're going to give these guys a shot. And then I have this blueberry plant. I need to get a nicer container for it because it's going to be permanent. But for now, I set it here. I've been having a hard time sourcing reasonably priced terracotta, which is what I ultimately want to put this blueberry plant in. So I'm going to have to wait till the local stores get a big shipment in, and then I will transplant that probably in the fall. So for now, besides spray painting or cleaning these pots some more, I just love the look. As you pull up in our driveway, we don't get close to where these containers are, and I just think it really came together as a nice kind of montage right here. It all is cohesive and makes sense. I don't know why I've never done this before, but I think it turned out really beautiful. And then I love this sweet little corner. Got my iced tea over there for the day. And then right now, I love this corner just cleaned up. I think this tree alone really grounds that space. And we've got the Rose of Sharon that's going to be blooming in the back. She's getting a little top heavy. I may have to prune her this year. We've got the containers. And really, I want people to come in and walk into the garden. You can see the garden this morning. It's just looking so beautiful, especially after a rain. All right, you guys, that's going to do it for this video. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed seeing the transformation of this space. I am really loving it already, and I know I'm going to enjoy it through the rest of the summer season, and it's going to really fit our lifestyle, how we use this space, and I think it's just going to be lush and gorgeous. I'll give you an update in my July garden tour, and in the comments, let me know if you're working on any small projects too, if you're doing any refreshes, flipping plants out, or just cleaning up those kind of forgotten garden yard spaces. So I'd love to hear more, and thanks for watching. Video number 1 in this series is linked in the description. I tackled my tiered garden bed, and today I'm working on a beast of a project. So I'll see you in that video soon. Bye, everybody. Okay, so this